Okay, so the 911 calls come in here, and we look after an area that goes from Highway 5 north of Clearwater to the Alberta border, down to the US border, which includes Golden, the East Kootenays, the West Kootenays. We go along the US border to Carameas, then up towards Princeton, Merritt, Clinton, Lillooet, and Lytton, over back to 70 Mile House and Highway 5. That's the area we look at. All those 911 calls come into here, those two desks. Any calls that require ambulance, we hand off to ambulance dispatching Kamloops. Any fire calls get handed off to the various fire departments. And the police calls go from these two desks to the call takers that are over here. They will then create the digital files that are sent over to the dispatchers at the far end of the room. Any calls where the caller calls 911, hangs up prior to us talking to them, we call them back. The dispatchers over here, these two call takers, actually, they call them back, ascertain if there is an emergency. If there is one, we create a file, we send a police officer. If there isn't, we make a note on the address printout that there was not an emergency. And if we cannot get in contact with the person, we send a policeman to check it out to make sure everybody is all right. The screens will show the files that we create. There's a map in the background that they can bring up, as well as messaging boxes where you can talk between the call taker here and the dispatcher, send updates and questions to update the files. When you first start here, you go to Chilliwack for a 7-week training period, and then you come back here for a 6 months apprenticeship. So you're looking at about 9 months of training to learn how to do this job. The software, what we all look at, what is a criminal code offense, what might be civil offense, we don't look after those. And also the dispatching part itself. It might be an emergency or non-emergency call. We take both here. And they have to ascertain, is it something that we look after? And then we ask the question, what's happening? Where is it happening? When is it happening? And if it's 911, it should be happening right now. Who is involved? We always ask the person's name, their address, date of birth. And depending what the file is, if there's any weapons involved or drugs or alcohol. Those are the general questions that are always asked. And that is for the safety of the person involved at the other end, and also for the police officers that's on the way. It's while she is talking to the person on the phone, the file is sent to the dispatcher, it is dispatched and then updated. But the more information we get from the caller, the more we know and the more the police officer can prepare himself for what is waiting at the scene, and they can make prior arrangements, or we can send 1 or 2 cars or 3 cars. So that's what all that information gathering is for. Okay, then the files from the call takers get sent electronically to the proper dispatchers, and we have a huge area here. It's all done geographically, and everybody can pick up every radio channel, but we ask them not to. Stay within your area. You know what the police officers are doing at the other end. So they get the files, they send them down electronically to the cars, to the laptops that the police officers have in the police cars. If it is an emergency file, it is also voice dispatched for security reasons for the police officers. So if somebody is close by, they can take it, and the co-workers know what's going on. That's all we look after is the police here. They're all looking at either after emergency or non-emergency calls. We dispatch non-emergency calls 24/7 for all of the detachment as well as the emergency calls.
Okay.